unanimously.
And this is a Highland Park South.
I'm trying to open it.
It's right off Forest Avenue.
Marcia, you okay with this?
I'm okay with it. Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. Let's go to number 2. What we got you, Sonia? What's this one about?
There's a commercial piece of property on Watson Circle. They want to rezone it to single-family residential for a home.
Okay, one lot, okay. Ed, you okay? I'm fine. All right. Number 3,
It's for a convenience store out on Norman Bridge Road, right near Hyundai.
yeah, this is a,
Did you say Norman Bridge Road?
it's out there by the Coca-Cola
I'm
plant.
sorry, Mobile Highway.
Mobile Highway, this guy's thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Is this a truck
Yeah.
stop?
No,
As far as I know, it's just convenience store.
convenience store.
Yeah, and they're gonna of course sell gas to trucks, but it won't be a truck stop. I went down there and saw the property and all of that. I talked with them. I'm okay with it.
He was thinking ahead.
It is.
That's a gold mine.
Uh-huh.
Very good, okay? All right,
I'm okay.
thanks, Sonia. All right, number 4, Marcia, we've
No,
all had a bunch of calls. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we're gonna carry it over to the next meeting because I don't want the community business owners to feel like they're being,
Yeah, some of 'em-
targeted with this ordinance, which they're not. So we want to redo the verbiage in there, make sure that language is saying what I'm saying.
Sounds good. What your intent, I know what your intention is, and I think everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta
Keith?
make sure we do that. Like when somebody says we can't do a rodeo out of it, that
Oh,
kinda scares me.
hi, how are you?
All
We're
right,
gonna
number
carry it
5.
over.
Hey, Keith, you want any comment? Y'all got any comments?
Number 5?
No, not 5.
Oh, you talking about number 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
No.
gonna carry that over. I think everybody's emailed us on number 4. I think I've heard from everybody in Southeast. So we're gonna take all that data and combine it to, make sure we got it right, okay? All right, number 5 is a resurfacing AUDOT deal.
Prove.
What?
That's on Court Street. That's horrible. We need to do whatever we gotta do to finish that up.
I mean, that thing's been going on for years.
What is the holdup on that? Is Christie?
Chip, what is the holdup on that?
I don't know.
I've come through there
Let
in the
me tell
last
you-
2 or 3 months, and I was asking Audrey, I said, my goodness, there's no problem. I mean, it's not my area, and I don't get out there much, but
I
it's,
talked to Mr. Smith today. I so happened to catch Robert Smith.
maybe
Oh,
Wesley,
no.
Wesley, you can tell us something?
It's a MOP project. It's not a city of Montgomery project.
What's the question on it?
What's going on in South Court?
It's still under construction.
And why is it taking so long? They've been working on it like a year and a half, 2 years now.
It's a major project, so it's not just a resurfacing. If you've seen, there's new signals. There has been a new water main that was laid.
okay.
They have actually, there's a big section of it, they had to rebuild the base of the road. So they had to come out, completely dig everything out, put a new sub base in, and pave back. So it's just a long process.
Okay. Well, while you standing right there, what about Honolulu Road? No, Old Selma Road, down where the striping and the reflectors have. Because I know we talked about maybe last week somebody would get down there and they didn't get a chance to get down there. Do you know whether or not they'd have?
I had somebody start on it yesterday.
They started yesterday.
Today, obviously, they couldn't get anything done.
Right,
They were
right. And
starting
tomorrow's
with the
gonna be kind of rough
reflectors.
too.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. Okay.
They're on it this week.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Wesley. All right, number 6. I believe, Audrey, you and Marcia going to the convention?
Yes.
And which one of y'all want to be the voting? Since you're the senior member, Audrey, I would suggest you be the voting
You'll have to
member.
do the
Is that okay with you,
nominations
Marcia?
during the meeting.
What?
You'll have to do the nominations during the meeting.
We will,
because
okay,
you'll have to vote
I'm
on
just setting it up.
it. Okay.
Okay, all right. Number 7 and 8. This is a show cause hearing for, are we sitting, is that for today? We sitting it for what day?
Today is a show cause.
He's supposed to be here today.
Yes, sir. He
Okay.
was sent a certified letter and I got the receipt back from
Okay,
him. He received
we'll
it.
talk to him at 5, okay? Number 9.
Oh, I'm super excited about number 9.
Is that what is that?
King Crabs is a seafood
Oh,
spot.
yeah, King Crab, okay.
On Commerce.
Crab King. Great. All right, number 10 is the Cultural Arts Train Shed event. That's great.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then Pruitt's going to reappoint his appointment to the Board of Adjustment. And then we got the tear downs and the abatements. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I got a resolution for the end. Yeah, they're doing it's gonna be a picnic in the park at the amphitheater. Yeah.
When's that?
Yes, because they're getting a special events liquor license.
Is that part of that number 10?
It's gonna be at the amphitheater. Here, y'all can see. At the riverfront. So y'all can have it and see it, yeah. R&B and blues picnic, May 1st.
Here,
She had
if I got one,
I don't have
put one down at Glenn's desk.
one. I got one now. I got Brantley's.
Okay. And I
Skate.
got,
Where's this at?
I need to get one to,
I got one.
you got one? Okay.
There was an extra one for the mayor.
Oh, okay. I'll take
Okay,
that.
bring this at the end of the meeting?
Not 8 of them.
Okay. Special events, okay, good deal. All right. We have some people want to talk to us at this work session right now, and let's see who they are. Okay, Commander Fred Williams wants to speak to us. Commander Fred?
Good evening, members of the City Council.
Yes, sir.
I'm coming regarding the Safe Youth Camp initiative for our youth in Montgomery. However, I had a few NFL players that en route. They wanted to speak on behalf of the camp. So if you will, I would like to be able to come back on our next City Council meeting, if that would be okay.
Well, you're doing during the council meeting, not the next.
I mean, ma'am?
During the council meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We'll bring you up. Okay. We'll bring you up then.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Ola Sharpley. We got her
No.
down for the work session. I don't think she's here.
I don't see her. No, sir.
Okay. And then, fire department, you got something you want to show us?
Hey,
Award of the international accreditation to the Commission of Fire Accreditation International.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. General.
Yes, sir.
Chief Jordan would like to make a presentation before the council during regular session.
Oh, in regular session?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll do that. All right. Sounds good. Okay, council, I got nothing else on my desk. Y'all got anything to talk about?
Charlie, I thought John Stanley was gonna talk. He's not?
He's out in the lobby.
Is he in the lobby?
He's in the lobby.
I see him out there now with Chris. Yeah.
President,
Yes, sir.
I had a lot of calls and I wanted to get, I know it's in your district, Rock and Jump.
Yeah.
They had some situations with Rock and Jump, and I just wanted to see what you, speak to the owner and see what type of security they're doing. I think a lot of that's occurring when they have these lock-ins.
Lock-ins?
Yes, sir. And they are allowing those parents to drop those underage kids off. And I think a young man got jumped on a couple of days, maybe a week or so ago during spring break. And that video kind of went viral, so I got several calls on that situation.
I will talk to them.
Thank you.
I know the family.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Hey,
Anybody else got anything?
I got some, Charlie. Stacy. We got the neighborhoods that's been going back and forth, Bellhurst and County Downs. You know, and Richard's applying to defend it. I don't know how that, do you know how, can he, I don't know if he's going to be able to represent the neighborhood or not. Can he not?
I'm not sure.
I went
His
to the-
motion's before the court.
Yeah, I know, I saw that last week, but I don't know if it's ruled yet. But if he can't, the city's a defendant in the planning commission, can he represent the planning commission?
No, we're representing the planning commission.
Okay. All right, are you gonna get, because he thinks he has a case.
I know.
Okay.
He's communicating with us clearly.
So y'all got him in the loop?
We're aware of his position, yes.
Okay.
All right.
You know what, Mr. Chairman, I see Victoria and Hamilton is here. She's set to talk to us after our meeting, but if she's here and wanna talk instead of her sitting through the court.
We got time, let's do it.
Ms. Hamilton, are you ready, or do you wanna wait till later to speak with us? I see you sitting here, so I didn't, if you are here and you wanna speak, we can.
Hey, how are you? I'm not gonna be before you guys long. But anyway, a lot of you all should know my story. And 10 years ago, at Centennial Bar and Grill, my son, Tanaris Hamilton, was the 50th homicide. And this violence continued to go on and on and on. And here's my thing. As a leader, as an advocate, and as a mother, it really, truly hurts that this continue to go on in all districts. But District 2, District 3, District 4, and District 5, where I live, I constantly advocate. These mothers are embarrassed. They're scared of their own children. I've been advocating for this for a long time, and it hurts. It really, truly hurts. And I don't know why the Black African American families are not coming together to combat this crime. I don't feel that there's enough leaders combating this crime, per se. I live in District 5. I've been there 25 years. And my district has truly, truly changed. And I am that mother, and I am that advocate of positive parents have power. In the last 3 years, I have asked you for a little portion of a building because there's no parenting center for these parents to be transparent, to come along to a side of you councilmen to help, and I want to do that. That's all I ask for, just a small portion. But I noticed in the last 3 years, and I noticed from last month that I did my research, how a lot of millions of dollars went out. I didn't even give you all the information, but a lot of millions of dollars of Biden and Harris has put out, and I know a small portion from me doing my part in my city for 10 years. Somebody in this city can help me with a grant or something because I want to continue to do my part to help you all guys. I thank you. I put packages in y'all for your week. My son is on a small softball team, and I want to be able to ask you all to donate me a van or a bus. I have been working for MPS for 18 years, and I can transport these kids. They can't afford the uniforms. I put it in that package on last week, and I just asked you to help me to help these at-risk families, at least to transport. This gas is high. I'm willing to do whatever I can to help these families to combat this crime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a minute, Ms. Hamilton, hold on one second. I want to make sure I understand what you asked. You asked for a building?
I asked for a building last year.
You're not asking for that today, is what you're
No,
saying?
I put that in a package. I don't know what you guys have done with it. I still have packages so you can read
but
over
tonight
my
it's about a
program.
van.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am. The last package was about a van, at least a 16-passenger van where I can help these, like I said, at-risk youth. I've been helping a lot of baseball teams, and this summer that's what I want to do. If you all can donate for me a small van or something to help these families. I thank you so much.
Thank you. John, you want to speak? Yeah, come here, John.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President, thank y'all for allowing me to speak today. I know most of you up here, but if you don't know me, I'm John Stanley, and I'm in the commercial real estate business in Montgomery. I've lived here my entire life, born here in 1948, and I love my city. Okay? I've developed in this town. I've sold real estate in this town, and I can expect to continue to do that in this town. But there are things going on in this city that I know you're aware of. I'm just asking you to deal with it and deal with it today, not next week. You know the things I'm talking about. We got guys dancing around in the intersection on the bypass. Yesterday, one guy was in the intersection and leaning on a car to keep the car from going forward so he could get paid. There were 7 grocery carts at the intersection of Monticello and the bypass that stayed there for a week until I finally got somebody to remove them. And thankfully, Dan Dickey attended to it and attended to it quickly, not today. He dealt with it yesterday. Okay? So we can keep kicking the can and avoiding doing something about these things, or we can do something about them. Okay? Like I said, I'm in the commercial real estate business. I've been selling commercial real estate in this town for 51 years. Okay? Often, I got clients that are telling me, why should I come to Montgomery when I have to deal with this? I have to see the trash. There's bags of trash at the intersection of I-65 and the bypass, 55-gallon bags of trash, and they sit there for a week until I call Dan Dickey, and Dan goes and has them picked up. Where's our Clean City Committee? Aren't they supposed to be doing things like that? But these are things that I see that affect our city, affect the income, affect business, affect population, affect our revenues, okay? And if we don't do something about it, we're going to continue to lose businesses and residences to Prattville. I do a lot of business in Prattville, Pike Road, Millbrook, Wetumpka. They're going out, okay? They're not staying in Montgomery. So I'm asking you to do something about it. Let's deal with it. It's not going to go away unless we deal with it. Any of you have any questions for me? I'd be happy to address them.
Mr. President, Mr. Stanley, let me, and I was going to save it for the, what's it called, special committee reports, but since we're here, I want to go ahead and talk about it. I sent you guys and ladies an email. We met, Stacy was there, we met with the Southern Poverty Law Center, our attorney, a couple from the police department, and Rhonda and Ed were there. And came to the conclusion, and I had sent the mayor an email, and he responded that he liked what he saw. And Wesley, if you want to come up and talk a little bit about, I've been talking to Wesley Cox, our engineer. When we were coming up with this thought process, I didn't think anything about it. We had to get state approval to put these signs on the right-of-ways, on state right-of-ways. So what I'm waiting on from Wesley, and Wesley and I talked today, is the sign would say something similar to the fact that, please don't give to panhandlers. If you want to help, give to Hope Inspired Ministries, Mercy House, whatever. And we will stick these signs up at locations where we all know that these individuals stand and make a living doing. And also what came out of that meeting was, Mayor, and we talked a little bit by text through Chip, that in the email, Southern Poverty Law Center stated that the Montgomery Police Department can enforce laws on the books today. And those laws are, if an individual is in the roadway, knocking on windows, impeding traffic, that we can make an arrest. And that is on a recording that we have, that they said we can enforce those laws. And one of the things I think that the city should do is enforce those laws. As y'all know, when people are speeding up and down a certain street in a neighborhood, we ask for extra patrols to curb the speeding. Well, I think we need to put extra patrols at certain locations. When we witness it, we make a few examples, enforcing our law that we can enforce legally, and put some of these people in jail. And I think it'll stop some of this stuff.
Well, I know we've been hampered, I guess that's the word, by that court ruling that came out, and it requires some interpretation, and we've got to make sure we've got it right. I respect that, and I respect those of you that are doing everything you can to do this. But, you know, I see people drop trash out, and I don't even think they know that there's a law against dropping trash out, okay? And then, obviously, there's a law on the books, there, or should be, that, you know, if you drop trash, you should get fined for it, okay? And then the same thing goes with these guys or whoever, or these guys that are trespassing in the public right-of-way. That's what we'll call it, okay? I mean, I'm sure some of them are on some kind of substance or intoxicated or whatever. Well, what if I'm out there and I'm intoxicated and I'm wandering around in the intersection? I'm probably going to get arrested for it.
Probably.
Okay? And what happens when I leave my office and it's dark and they're wandering around in the intersection and I hit or run over one of them, am I charged with a crime because I didn't see him? Because a lot of times you can't see these people. So, again, thank y'all for what you're doing. It's a service, and I really, really appreciate it. I've been on the Board of Adjustments for the City of Montgomery for almost 40 years. I've been chairman of the Board of Adjustments for 20. I love my city, and I respect what goes on here. I respect y'all. And I'm here, like I said, I'm here because of my family, my friends, my clients that are expecting something to be done about these things. And thank y'all very much.
John, let me say one thing. I saw you at the meeting last week, and we appreciate everything you do. It's just not safe to have them in the traffic. We got someone run over and killed
On the interstate.
on the interstate 2 days after that meeting. People are speeding like they've never, all over the place. It's not just Montgomery, all over people are speeding. And when you got cars going by 55 and 65 and 70 miles an hour and you're in and out of traffic, it's just not safe. We're not being fair to any about this deal because there are going to be more people killed or injured seriously. It's just not safe. It's not safe for any of us to be out there.
Well, thank y'all. Wesley, will you?
John.
Wesley, can you talk to what we're talking about, the signs and the process we got to go through with the state? And,
Yeah, so
you know,
we're
just what
talking about AUDOT right away. The city of Montgomery is not able to just go place signs like we do on city right away. That's a process to work through with AUDOT. The main thing is going to be having to get the sign approved and have it looking like it's supposed to according to MUTCD guidelines.
Can you share with them what that means? Because I had no
Sure.
idea.
So signs, the color, style, the look of signs is all governed by the Manual Uniform Traffic Control Devices federal guidelines. The sign that I saw that came out of the meeting is a white background sign with black and red lettering, which is a regulatory sign, which means it's tied to a law and ordinance. Your stop signs, yield signs, no parkings, anything like that's a regulatory sign. So this particular case, we're trying to encourage people not to give to panhandlers and offer options to give to another group, and it's not necessarily a regulatory message that we're giving. So we just got to look at the colors and the style that's used, and it may be something with a blue, green background. Yellow could be a possibility. So that's all we've got to do to work with AUDOT to get a sign that they're happy with, that we're all happy with, that can be placed out.
I think it's been tried in some places and been successful. I think Akron, Ohio may have used it or something like that, but, you know, it's been successful, I believe.
Yeah.
At least to some degree. I hope so anyway.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I guess my question, so should we start with billboards? Because billboards will be more simpler doing until we able to get those signs, Mr. Cox? So what is the time period we're looking to get approval?
I don't know. I'm trying to determine now what the process needs to be with AUDOT on this. I'm working with our Montgomery area traffic engineer right now with AUDOT, and I hope to, here in the next few days, have an idea what that process is.
But if it's a long process, it'll be quicker for us to do billboards.
If you're able to get billboards up and that's the route you want to go,
Well, it's not where I want to end up being, but I mean, it's a start, because I think we have to put these at these certain 8 to 10 locations here in town. So when people are sitting at a stop sign, but we could definitely look at billboards. And I don't know, Ms. Blaylock, do we have money in the budget, or Charlie, or somebody, do we have money in the budget for advertising, that we can go do something like that? Or can we use our contingency money, or how would we do that if we wanted to do a campaign?
You could use 618. Betty, couldn't they use 618 for those signs since they're going to be permanent?
Well, no, I'm talking about the billboards.
The billboards?
The signs we could use.
That would have to be rental or either your contingency, either one, rental or contingency.
Mr. President,
If we do a billboard, you want to do a static, because the electronics are up there for about 6 seconds. They do 10 a minute. So they're up there 6 and they're off. So,
Right.
you know, you're only a small portion is going to see that. So the old static ones where it's just you paint it up there is there. And Glenn, we could get some static, just leave them up there even with the signs.
We can do that.
Gotta have the right location, though.
No, absolutely
Yeah.
do, Charlie.
Mr.
And
President.
I don't want to just waste money, though,
No, I
because
agree
I
with
know
you.
I think we
Yeah,
can
you
get
don't
these
go to the right
signs
location,
done.
it don't do you any good.
Mr.
Calhoun,
President.
Mr. Calhoun.
Two things, and I understand the signs, and I kind of agree with the signs, but I'm looking at when we talk about billboards, I think we're using our media, news, 10 o'clock news, we put that advertising out there that we're trying to go a different direction with panhandlers on these intersections. But the question of the day is, we can put signs up everywhere, but we need the enforcement part. We need to make sure there's a will to enforce this that we're putting out. Because I'm a firm believer signs don't change behavior, enforcement does. So we got to have the will with the new leadership, if that's something that we're going to pursue to try to change behavior within the city of Montgomery on these intersections, or we just putting signs up and just wishful thinking. So
We got the new chief here.
Yeah, so
He
we
hadn't
just,
been to his first council meeting, chief.
Right.
so he hears, and I think he's coming up with a plan to try to address some of these things. We give it time, we can start with a sign. That 10 o'clock, we can use the Capital City Connection. Each council member can go out, and we're trying to change behavior on that. And we can start there with commercials, those type things in the meantime while we wait on ruling on what we can do with these signs and what it look like. And I think if it's going to be on state right-of-ways, we need to ask for state funding for these signs also. This is just not a city issue. These are state right-of-ways that we're trying to enforce, something that we need their help with too. They have funding just like the city council, so it needs to be a collaborative operation that we try to combat this stuff that we're seeing on our streets in Montgomery.
That's right. And AUDOT is in the same boat as us. They don't like having people dancing in the intersection. You know, it's a safety
But
issue
you would
for
think they
all
would
of us.
they would have the troopers out there doing something about it. It's state highways, you'd think they would report it. Somebody at the state would report it. They're not doing it. I mean, it's frustrating to me that we got all these levels of government and it all ends up right in our lap, you know? I mean, state troopers could be doing this stuff for us. County sheriffs could be doing this stuff for us, but it's back to our police department. They have to enforce all this stuff, you know? If it's a law, it's a law.
I like the observation that I've seen over the past couple of years is it seems like it's like if you create the environment where they know they're going to get money at an intersection, they know people are going to give it to them, and that's what's drawn them there. Right. And if we could barrage some kind of public service message, not just a mention on the news, but maybe radio or something, just hammer down the message. Don't stop and give these people anything because you're just creating a huge problem by doing so. And once I think the money dries up, the problem will dry up.
I think the signs in the intersection.
That's a good initiative.
I agree 100%. Stop giving them money, they're going to go somewhere else.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stanley, thank you for coming and bringing this.
Anybody else got any questions
appreciate
for me?
I have a question for Stacy. Miss Stacy, I know we can't do certain things underneath the lawsuits and whatnot, but I had at the Mulberry exit, I don't know this individual's name, but he was a panhandler, but he was performing with a large samurai sword, and he hit my car. What can we do? Like, he hit the window of the car with my children in it. can we do anything as far as a police or as a city to, I mean, what does a person do, myself or a citizen of the city, if we get hit by a samurai sword?
You'd
We get
basically
hit
have
by
to
something.
pull over, call the police, get them to respond out, and get his information so that you could sign a warrant on him.
Okay.
But you gotta sign
But,
it.
hey, let me ask you this, Stacy. If he is in the roadway, we can make an arrest.
Correct.
No, you can't.
they're-
You gonna
No,
make
we
the arrest?
can.
You
Right.
gonna make the arrest?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Well,
well,
I
that's why
say
you got.
we, I got a rat in my pocket, then people sitting over there,
Well,
I got a
think-
samurai sword in my
I think the
truck.
point is, we're talking amongst ourselves, the folks who answer the question sit over yonder, okay?
Come on up now.
Well-
Chief and secretary, they can answer the question, okay?
The problem is they're gone.
Right, then
Well, and
look,
that's-
you can get them when they're standing there. Y'all listen to what the Southern Poverty Law Center told you. We can go get them.
So why?
So, Chief,
Chief,
hold on
go
one-
ahead.
Hold on one
Welcome,
second.
Chief.
Why not? Thank you.
Hold on one
Thank you.
second. Just settle down. So, let me say what Chief may not say. All right, we're not going to be going out arresting homeless people. All right, that's not what we're going to be sending people out with a gun and a badge to do. Now we're going to get them help. We're going to redirect them. But we're trying to deal with a violent crime surge. And you can't have people everywhere with the manpower that we have. Now we got to make a decision. These people aren't superheroes. So, do we want them to slow down traffic in Dalrata? Do we want them to find the violent criminals who are creating all the mayhem? Or do we want them interacting with people who may have a substance abuse problem, who may have a mental illness, and then something goes left because they're scared of somebody with a badge and a gun? Now, if we want to think about hiring a crisis intervention team that's not armed to go out and get them the help and get them the assistance to our homeless providers and to the nonprofits that we have in this city, that's one thing. But we aren't looking to arrest homeless people, no more than the state is looking to use state troopers to arrest homeless people. You look at what the state troopers are designed to do, it's not that. And you look at what the police department is designed to do, it's not that. Now, does that come within the purview of the police? Absolutely. If somebody is swinging a samurai sword, that's something different. That's very rare. The people that I see who approach my car and I say, Doc, I don't have it, whether it's at Ann Street, whether it's at Mulberry Street, whether it's at Southern Boulevard, or whether it's now at East Chase, those are people we have to get help for. That's not taking our officers off the street who are trying to deal with all the multitude of issues that I think are much more serious and violent in nature than dealing with those folks that we know have some issues. And if there's one thing that came up out of the homeless task force was that arresting the homeless is the worst thing we could do. If there's one takeaway I got out of that meeting from talking to the homeless providers was us going out and using force and arresting them is the worst thing that we could do. So we've got to make sure that we're thinking about a multitude of approaches to this problem. It's not a silver bullet solution. And it's not a solution that we can have a police officer handle the other 10 things that we get by the end of this meeting that we know they need to address and we want them to address that actually are causing this city and the people in this city much more risk and harm than that person who's right here at Jackson Hospital every day when I get off, or who's right there at any of the corners when I go run an errand or you go run an errand. Now, we want to have a nonviolent crisis team go out and do that. I'm all for it. And that's what a lot of other cities are doing. So their best practices to address this as opposed to making our police the first line of defense. Now, if there's something that comes in Chief Albert's time here as it relates to what he has seen in his 32 years of law enforcement experience that changes that, then I'll listen to that opinion. But that's where I am right now.
So you're telling me, so you're sharing with me, Mayor, that we need to hire a crisis prevention team to go out and do this nonviolently. I mean, I don't know if I understand what you're saying. Why is enforcing a law that we have on the books about an individual being in the middle of the road, and there's a difference between homelessness and panhandlers.
Right.
These people are making a living in the middle of the street, and you call it what you want. We all know who they are, and there's a huge difference. And most of these people that are in the middle of the street get on their bicycle and go back to their apartment, or in their car, or get out of their wheelchair and walk to their car. There's a huge difference. And for us not to enforce to enforce a law that we have on the books that Southern Poverty Law Center says we can enforce, when this is the biggest eyesore we got in the city right now. Every exit that we get off of, somebody is there, running through the traffic, asking for $1. And I just find it hard to believe that we can't figure out a way, and we can have meetings and do all this other stuff, but we have a law that we can enforce. And it's not violently doing it.
What we don't want to do, we want to minimize the interactions between police and nonviolent offenses, misdemeanor offenses, okay? That's what we're trying to do. And that's the goal here of having a crisis team that would be dressed differently than our men and women in that uniform, but who would be identified as part of the city going out and doing this. And again, this is something that has been playing out since I was on probate court. So this is something that you're seeing across the board. Now, what you're talking about are the people who are certainly hustling, right? You got a lot of hustlers. But a lot of these people are not getting back into a car. A lot of them are still sleeping under the bridges. A lot of them are going to these providers. And one of the things that those homeless task force folks share with us is we don't want the city going out and arresting them. What we need is for you to get them to us. We can get them the help they need, and we can get them redirected. Because if you go out, ultimately you're going to have conflict in a nonviolent offender. And I understand it's a nuisance to me as it is to any of us to have those guys at Carmichael Road and all these places doing that. But we don't want to put the police in that respect when, again, I know that you all get calls about things that we can't send a nonviolent crisis team out to. So those are some of the things in terms of how we approach law enforcement and the enforcing of the ordinances that we currently have. We got to think through a little bit differently. And it's not necessarily one that involves us handcuffing people who are on the margins, who are dealing with poverty, whose kids, who as a student are right down here in the school that we all praise at Valley Cross. Some of those kids are homeless. Some of their parents are out there. Now, so we don't want to combine that with what we see at MPS or anywhere else with people who are already having challenges by arresting them. We can't arrest our way out of that problem. Now, one thing I will say is, I hope that we'll talk about before with the final report, is that, what I would like for us to certainly consider is an allocation of dollars for transition housing, and to make sure that we are investing in transition housing, because we do have we've got a number of properties, and we've got some organizations that can assist us in that to keep them off the streets during the day. Because again, what we learned with the Salvation Army and others is that a lot of them are poured out during the day. So how do we kind of get them off the street in the day and then kind of get them back on the right track? But what the data tells us and what the council is, not just from local folks here, but in terms of best practices, is you don't want to put your police in a situation where they're dealing with a nonviolent offender if you can help it. And so the goal would be to have a team that goes out there and tells them what they can and cannot do. They cannot be swinging a sword. They cannot rush up to a car. And then what we do with the signs, Glenn, is we've got the QR code and we've got the website that says, Montgomery Task Force or whatever, and it lists all of the nonprofits or the ones that are credible. It doesn't just list one or two. It lists them, and then if somebody wants to give $1, they can scan that with their phone, and they can feel good about themselves, and then those folks have the resources that they say that right now they don't have, coming from the city and coming from those folks, and then they can go out and do better work.
Right.
That was part of what they shared with us last week over in the old city council chambers. And I think that's fitting with best practices of what we're seeing with many communities.
Mayor, me and you are totally in agreement on the sign issue. Totally in agreement. But again, and I'm gonna quit. You know, we say that we do not want our police department to come in contact with nonviolent people.
If we can help it.
They do it every day when they're out writing speeding tickets all across the city. So, I mean, they know how to do it. And you know, one of the problems is, Mayor, a lot of these homeless people that you go ask the people that do this for a living, that try to go out and help, a lot of these people don't want it. They want to get that $20 from somebody in the window to go get their fix. So, you know, I don't know, just for us not to
be the first wave, just not for it to be the first step of interaction. I'm not saying it's not a final step, just not to be the first step in interaction with them, in particular as we try to change the behavior that unfortunately people have seen to think is routine in this city. Just not for it to be the first step, because you guys get a lot of the calls you share with us about, again, more heinous issues that are going on that we really want them to focus on when it comes to really dialing back these numbers and these incidents and things of a more violent and more serious nature that we can't send that crisis team out to. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Mayor.
Okay.
So we know the low-hanging fruit start with the signs. Are we kind of all agreeing on that? Yeah. Okay.
Let's get that done. All right, that's our first step. Get to the signs done, go. I'm going to adjourn the meeting to 5 o'clock, and then we'll reconvene at 5 for the regular meeting, okay?